there's an assumption that if inflation persists, the Fed will simply just fight it. They'll increase interest rates somewhat and they'll control it. But I actually think that the degrees of action that the Fed can take here might be more constrained than people think. We've seen that federal debt as a percentage of GDP is at sort of all-time peacetime highs. We were at 100% for a few years, and now because of COVID, we just rocketed up over 120%. The argument by mostly liberal economists that the debt didn't matter was because the debt service remained very low. The only reason why debt service payments aren't crowding out the entire federal budget is because we've had interest rates at historically abnormal lows, zeros basically.
Yeah.
So how exactly is the Fed going to fight inflation? Can you imagine the pressure the Fed will be under not to raise rates if it means that all of these discretionary programs basically have to be cut, that we have an austerity mode in the federal budget? If we hit a crisis, if there is some unforeseen military conflict, what glass do we break now in case of emergency? If you've been listening to Joe Manchin talk about the current reconciliation bill, and he says, look, 3.5 trillion doesn't make sense. We don't know what situation we're going to confront in the future. We don't know what crises are coming. We're going to reduce our ability to tackle all those future problems by overspending right now. And looking at this risk of stagflation in the forms of the supply chain shortage, you'd have to say that if we want to preserve any flexibility next year to raise interest rates, you better be really careful about how much debt you incur now.
Love you, Sexy Poo.
We love you, Sexy Poo. I love you, boys.